Well, I'm here at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. As you probably can't read that sign in the background. They'll bring it into focus. There we go. But already they're clearing up within minutes of the final plenary, and a call to arms, a call to action in the most passionate terms from Governor Jerry Brown, where he said, we will fight climate change and we will win. And certainly, I mean, there have been, countless, a plethora of announcements from city mayors, governors, one CEO after another announcing what their company is going to do, whether it is purchasing renewable energy or committing to being carbon neutral, and cities saying that they will club together to purchase electric vehicles and convert their public transport to electrify their public transport system and buses and vehicles. Mayors from numerous cities, I think 19, saying that they will work together to ensure that their buildings are low carbon, even carbon neutral. And the list goes on. So I mean, certainly it has sent a very strong message that there is momentum, and certainly from the US, that the US is still in the game, as we have seen. Is it enough? We know, and Christiana Figueres, that I spoke to recently, is a big advocate of this. We have to bend the curve down, the emissions curve down by 2020. Other commentators on this, Mark Fulton, for example, that I spoke to earlier, has published a big paper here, the Inevitable Policy Response, saying there will be, it is almost inevitable, as the name implies, that governments will react and they will bring in the policy. They call it as 2025 when that actually happens. That's potentially too late for the most orderly transition. So that will involve a lot of economic fallout. The game, I think, or what we are left with is, do we act now and have a relatively orderly transition, or are we going to wait 5, 7, 10 years before we have the policy response that's needed? I mean, there is a silver lining here, as you saw. I've talked about before, the Carbon Tracker report on the energy transition, Vision 2020, why you should see the fossil fuel peak coming, says that we are in the midst of a low-carbon technology-driven transition. We have reached the economic tipping point where the clean technologies are now more efficient and cheaper. And this technology transition is underway. And that would be great if we had 20 to 25 years for the transition, but we don't. We have to get this transition going right now. So what we need is that policy response. And in many ways, that's what the GCAS has been all about, has been creating that awareness and that momentum for the inevitable policy response that is required to drive the technology transition that's already underway fast enough. I think the good news, and you'll be hearing more about this, is policymakers will now be making that climate policy when they do act with the technological and economic grain. So signing off from San Francisco and the GCAS, and as you can see, already, talk about American efficiency, they are cleaning up the room and stacking the chairs. So let's just hope they can do that in the climate sense as well. So subscribe to the channel, and there will be a lot more coming in the next weeks and months and years ahead. Thank you.